Hello and welcome everyone to LinkedIn Live with BlackBerry. We're so glad you could join us. And my name is Steve Kovsky. I'm editorial director for BlackBerry, and I'm very pleased to have two distinguished speakers on the program today. I'm going to let them introduce themselves, and I'm going to start with Ismael.
Thank you, Steve. Pleasure to be with you here. Yes, so it's Ismael Valenzuela, and I lead the threat research and intelligence team at BlackBerry.
Very good. Dmitry, please log in, sign in, tell us who you are.
Thank you, Stephen. Yes, and thank you also, Ismail. My name is Dmitry Bestuzhev. I'm most distinguished threat researcher for BlackBerry, and it's also my pleasure to be here.
Well, this has been a big week for BlackBerry. A lot going on. It's you've been traveling continent to continent over the past several weeks and months, and preparing something in the background that was just announced. I think on the middle of this week, and it's kind of an exciting development for BlackBerry and really shows, I think, the progress that you've made in the threat research, kind of retooling our threat research and intelligence programs here at the company. And maybe, Ismail, you could kind of give us a highlight of what you announced this week.
Sure. Yeah, this is something that we're very happy to discuss and to announce. We announced it at the BlackBerry Security Summit a couple of days ago, but we're very happy about this because it's our passion, right? And I think you're gonna feel it as Dimitri and I talk about this. Something we've been doing for a long time, and we're gonna be able to now deliver these cyber threat intelligence services as a service to our customers, right? Based on a quarterly basis along with many of the other things that we already do. But I think these cyber threat intelligence services, especially in the way that we're proposing them, we talk about contextual threat intelligence, is something that is going to add a lot of value to the security programs of our customers.
And I see a lot of people checking in from all over the world. That's always great to see. Peru, France, Woodford, Vermont, all kinds of exotic places. Um, uh, Dmitry, you've been at really the forefront of this field for many years. Why is threat intelligence so important to organizations today?
Well, that is because it's not anymore about malware as it used to be, like, let's say 20 years ago or 15 years ago, when we used to have viruses, then trojans, all sort of malware. But now we see that malicious code is just a vehicle, it's a weapon, one of many used to target companies and even like final customers as well. But when we speak about weapons, we should understand that there's someone who should be behind it. And that someone, organization, nation state, group of cyber criminals, they need to have reasons to attack you. Why? And if they have those reasons, so there is like a certain goal, objectives, and set that. So what can we do? I mean, as companies, also to protect ourselves. Definitely, if the answer is like, oh, use my product and you will be fine, it's a mistake. Because the thing is to understand who is trying to attack me, why, what are the toolings or weapons they use, how can I anticipate those attacks, not to respond, but anticipate also, and also what strategies should I take to lessen the risks and to build my capabilities of detection, not based on products, but based on visibility and actionable intelligence extracted from the analysis of those campaigns and those threat actors.
I think this is something the industry still struggles with a little bit. Is we've all kind of grown up in it with this malware focus. Oh, here's the threat, and it's not an individual. It's not a human being. It's a piece of code. But with the advanced threats, with a really determined attacker, such as you see in nation states, but now increasingly with ransomware that's highly targeted, other types of attacks, they will continue to throw things at this until they achieve their goals. and they may change their techniques and tactics. So understanding the underlying reason why you're being attacked, what they're trying to achieve, can help you. Ismael, this seems like it's kind of geared toward larger companies. If you've got a big security staff, then you may even already subscribe to CTI services, and you've got specialists that are able to analyze that for your needs and make it perhaps actionable. You've had some conversations in the course of introducing this new service and these new products, where some organizations don't think it applies to them, or don't think that it's something that they can use. How does it scale? Is it only for large organizations, or is this something that a company, with even one or two or three security folks on staff could benefit from?
Yeah, no, that's a very good question. It's a common misconception as well. I've been having a lot of conversations with CISOs about this for over a long period of time, and more recently, as we discussed the introduction of this new service from BlackBerry, I had an opportunity to talk to several CISOs of not just larger organizations but also smaller ones. And as you said, a lot of people they just don't have the staff, right? They may have one, two, three people, what I call the all-around defenders. It's like everybody wants to do threat hunting. Yes, that's awesome, but I don't have time for that. I have to defend, cloud, network, endpoints, mobile phones, and everything. So it's a common misconception that intelligence is not for me. Now, one of the things I usually say is, look, you may not need to know whether if it's, I don't know, Russia or China. I know that that's kind of defensive stuff. We want to know that. And it adds context. But that particular information only, you may not do anything with that, because unless you're a three-letter agency or you're working out of law enforcement, you're not going to take action. You're not going to prosecute anybody. But the reality is that knowing who's behind an attack helps you to understand motivation, which is what Dmitry was hinting at before. And motivation is part of influences the behaviors, right? At the end of the day, we're dealing with humans. If we just reduce this to the malware, you're removing the human aspect out of this, the geopolitical aspect out of this, the economic factors that drive somebody, or the military factors that drive somebody to launch an attack against another organization. Understanding this is important to any business, no matter the size, because every business has a security function to talk about something, a term that I've heard a lot lately this year, which is resilience, right? Cyber resilience. And what is that? Well, that's not about not being able to be attacked. Like, let's face it, you cannot do that. Everybody's being attacked. As of right now, everybody's being attacked, right? And nobody can avoid that. What you can do is to be resilient to that, which means to try to anticipate what can happen. That's why building threat models, risk assessments is very important. Having an idea of, okay, what's the bad thing that can happen to me, to my business, to withstand those attacks, to be able to resist them, to be able to recover from them, because again, you're going to have them, and to be able to adapt. And that's where CTI is really important, because it gives you the information that a CISO needs to maintain focus, to maintain a direction. In our presentation, we said that CTI is like having the context in a map, right? If you're navigating, you want to get to a point where you've never been to, you need to have a map with the names on the roads and the highways, and you need to have the context so you can make decisions, right decisions at the right time. And any organization needs to do this. Taking it to an example, right, an actionable level. If I tell you today you're a CISO of an organization, Steve, we're going to put you the CISO hat today.
Thank you. Right now. I'm not qualified, but thank you.
and I tell you, look, Steve, there is a motivated group right now that is targeting organizations in your industry, in your vertical. Let's say that you're working out of healthcare or, I don't know, food manufacturing, right? And in your region, they're attacking with this type of technique, right? They're looking for this particular vulnerability on this particular software. Would you be interested in having that information? Well, you're the
Yeah,
CISO.
yeah,
You
yeah.
gotta tell me. You
As
gotta tell me.
CISO,
All right.
I'm not used to being a CISO. I've only been one for 30 seconds. But yeah, yeah, I
We're
would
gonna get to there.
absolutely need to know that.
Right. And the reason is, again, very simple. We have so many things to patch. There are so many vulnerabilities that are being published on a daily basis. Like if you look at just vulnerability for phones, we were just discussing this a few days ago during the BlackBerry Summit, right? We're talking about several CVEs, common vulnerability exposures per day. You look at endpoints or you look at servers, and the number is like, a lot more. So we cannot keep track and keep on top on absolutely everything. We need priority. We need focus, and that type of information gives you priorities. Like, you know what? Yeah, we have all the things we're doing, but let's look for this vulnerability. Do we have that software? Let's make sure that it's not being actively exploited today because we have that information that tells us that this is happening. So it's kind of like the weather forecast, right? You know it's going to rain. You don't walk out there without an umbrella. You want to be anticipating and using the elements that are at your reach to be able to counteract that.
Yes, that again is hard for me to comprehend because I live in San Diego where we don't have weather really, but I remember when I lived in Boston. You wanted to know the night before if you should go put salt on your walkway so you don't fall on your ass when you go outside. Um, yeah, I think a lot of the onus is on us as the communicators of this to provide context. Like Dmitry, just in the last month, I think he's broken news about China attacking Myanmar and about a potential Russia nexus actor attacking the Ukraine military very very recently. It was also mentioned, and if you read down toward the bottom of the article, that they were also attacking U.S. and companies in the Philippines, commercial companies in food supply, distribution, manufacturing. So bubbling that up to the right people at the right companies is very important. Dmitry, how do you see that? I know as a threat hunter, you get that thrill of the hunt. You know, um, how do we get better at making sure? And is that built into this service to try to help people get data that they can use, information that they can use?
Yes, indeed, it's a very complex threat landscape right now. The whole world is living because you can see geopolitics or politics basically define what is the future and how is going to be the present we live, and that impacts everyone. So, for instance, when we speak about targeting military forces of Ukraine and supplying food like industry, it's also connected because when we go through the newspapers and we see that there is a crisis, coming also because that grain produced in Ukraine it can't be easily transported from the ports of Ukraine to the rest of the world. So we see that different industries like military forces and food, it's just at first sight not connected at all. Like, what does it have to do? But when we think about geopolitics, you see it's all connected. And there is something interesting. We see like a very interesting trend. It doesn't matter who is the threat actor and its origins. Let's say it's from publicly attributed China's threat actor or publicly attributed threat actor from Russia or Iran. It doesn't matter, or any other country. There is like a slight trend in abusing legitimate applications. That's the case attacking Myanmar. That's the case attacking Ukraine. And it's interesting because this is what they do. They just Trojanize legitimate applications which are already installed or to be installed in the system, and most probably are whitelisted or will be easily whitelisted. So defending your organization against such techniques, it's hard, it's complicated because it's like trust is being abused. That thing called trust, like, oh, this is a legitimate application, is broken. So Again, if you rely only on traditional tooling, just like anti-malware or even, I don't know, whatever, like traditionally speaking, it's not enough. It's the baseline, because what you need to know exactly how those threat actors operate, what are the TTPs, tactics, techniques, and procedures, and then with the uh, easily digestible intelligence. What I mean specifically, it's a report, it's description, it's about countermeasure rules, let's say, like applied rules you can use also to hunt, to prevent, to monitor. You got to start looking into your network first. If I was I attacked? Yes or no? Will I be attacked? And can I run also like threat hunting exercises? But more important than that, now when you have TTPs, now when you know like how do they break in, what you can do and what you should do is to emulate the threat actor, is to see if your current visibility is enough to detect that threat actor. And when we say visibility, we don't mean detection rates and things like that. We mean logging. We mean, can you even see that threat actor breaking into your network? If no, okay, what will you do to increase that visibility? Is it like, are you missing some configurations in the existing products? Or you need another product, another technology, you need to train people. So all of that really helps to know, like, will you be ready when the threat actor will attack you? But realistically speaking, when something which you can measure, you can evaluate based on not on like marketing material or your feelings, but based on facts, based on what your uh, like current visibility allows you or not.
Exactly. It's like following the directions, the maps, the GPS type of analogy. You're making decisions not based on guesses, assumptions, like many people do, right? In security, like the boss walks into the room and says, "Hey, how we doing? Are we secure?" Oh, like I think so. No, this is what we're seeing against my industry, against my region, my country, my peers, and this is what we're doing, right, to counteract this. So yes, it is possible to anticipate, right, what an attacker can do. Can we do that 100% all the time? Maybe not, but being reactive, being just waiting for something bad to happen to then take action, it's definitely a strategy that has proven to be ineffective, right? And it's costing companies a lot of money. And if we're looking at critical infrastructure, hospitals, education, it's affecting the lives of people. It's not about malware only, right?
I think, looking at some of the questions that have come in and some of the comments, and like James Navarro's, mentioning that nation state actors, they can recompile binaries to evade detection. That, going back to our discussion, that they will change the tools that they use if they're being detected, if they're not being effective. But we're not delivering this service in a vacuum. And there was another question from Canada, I think, saying, "Hey, what are you guys selling here? What do you do?" And there's people saying, "Where's my phone?" And I'm sorry, we don't have your phones anymore. We are now a cybersecurity and a software and services company, but as part of that, there is an ecosystem here. So if you've got the bandwidth and the skills and the abilities to do some of this triangulation, to take the data and then to be able to test to see if you're vulnerable, then we're giving you the tools to do that. But this was developed as part of a complete offering that includes artificial intelligence, machine learning, endpoint detection, which is best in class, which is likely going to catch those threats, even if they recompile the binaries, even if they take another, because it's looking at a very holistic level. Yeah. And I'm interested in your perception. Still relatively new to BlackBerry, both of you. Coming from very, very notable industry players, do you see the quality of the products, and do you see that that they are being advanced? That we don't want to give people the perception that we're going in a different direction here. It's really integrated, and I think you have a front row seat at that. I know that you've both been like swimming in the data lake and really taking advantage of the resources that BlackBerry brings to bear, and maybe you could talk about that a little bit.
Absolutely. Let me take a first stab at that, because this is something that everybody asks, like, hey, about the phones, right? And I'm always like, I think the best answer is like, look, I actually do have BlackBerry software on my phone, and I don't have to tell you the brand I use, but whether you use iPhones or Androids, or you can have BlackBerry software on your phone to secure your communications. And that's actually what attracted me to BlackBerry. That's what I love about what we have here, which is we say we have intelligent security in every device, right? Whether it's the endpoint, mobile, or even automobile. And I know you know a lot about that, Steve, like being the host of the the automotive podcast. But that's really what makes us different, right? And just to clarify the question of what we do and how that gets into the hands of our customers, one way that this gets into the hands of our customers is through our products, right? So these security products that secure communications for enterprises benefit from the threat research and the intelligence that we built into this process. So we have obviously internal processes that help train, retrain algorithms, patch algorithms, machine learning algorithms that improve the efficacy of this. So when attackers use evasive techniques to bypass our controls, right, our different countermeasures can counteract that. And we can go deeper into this, but there is obviously no one single solution for everything. So when we look at secure architectures, we look at inline mechanisms that allow us to block or protect or disrupt, complemented by sensors that provide visibility, that allow us to see, right? And sensors that allow us to act, to react, and take action on something that we are observing. So when we architect correctly, protection, detection, and reaction mechanisms, and we start thinking about not just one piece of malware and what it does, but also the attack chain. That's why intelligence and context becomes important. Then we can look at winning the game by disrupting the attack as early as possible in the attack chain, and in some cases even being able to anticipate it and prevent it, right? So that's one way in which what we do, what Dmitry's team, our team does, ends up into the hands of our customers through our products. The other way is through our services, right? We have BlackBerry Guard. And that's a managed XDR service where not only big but also smaller organizations, typically organizations that do not have the in-house resources to have a SOC and to have threat hunters, malware analysts, and threat intelligence analysts, they can come to us, and we provide them with everything they need to protect, prevent, detect, and respond, right? So we are like their externalized SOC for them. And our intelligence powers this team too. The third way, and this is what we are announcing this week, is that now our customers can also have access to specific reports with timely data, the latest and the greatest news, in a form that CISOs can consume them, right, with strategic information, and also tactical and operational information for those that have security operations teams. But this is a very customized type of product that we provide to our customers, and that in some cases even includes like a briefing, right? At the end of the day, it's all about, again, the human, the context. You need to know what's important to you and what to do with that information. And sometimes the best way of communicating that is, in a one-on-one conversation.
Yeah, it was really interesting. The people that we brought together this week at the New York Stock Exchange for our BlackBerry Security Summit, the 9th annual, was really all over the map. They're from all different industries. We had U.S. Space Force, their CIO, The colonel came and spoke at the event, and I encourage you to go listen to that. If I'm sure you'll be able to find the links. Or we had one of the leaders of cyber defense from Ukraine join us live for the keynote, where he was interviewed by John Chen, the CEO of BlackBerry, and very insightful what they are trying to accomplish, and the way they're trying to protect domains with or without electricity on an hour-by-hour basis, with or without air raid sirens going off. And then I had a chance to speak to a CISO. It was visiting from the state of Georgia, and it is a relatively small regional CPA firm, but their clients are government agencies and hospitals and high net worth individuals. They have a CIO. They don't have a CISO. And in fact, they don't have anybody else focusing on cybersecurity at their firm other than the CIO. But they found that Cylance Guard, they're able to outsource all of that depth and have world class, basically the same level of cybersecurity that a Fortune 500 might seek to achieve, even though they're a IT staff of 3 and nobody full time on security. Dmitry, I know you deal with a lot of 3-letter agencies, not just in North America, but in Latin America and around the world. So you have insight into how they operate and how you're able to work with them cooperatively and do some of the things that Ismael was talking about, that where when your team finds a threat, you work internally to make sure that all of our customers are protected through the systems that we operate. What kind of additional insight do you have that you could share with us?
Yeah, that is the beauty of cyber threat intelligence, because you don't have to be a customer of a product, let's say, of BlackBerry, because it's about analyzing threats and converting it into something which you can use wherever you are, whatever products you use or you don't have at all. And since nobody has an absolute visibility, like to have a full visibility of the world, it's great when you can enhance it with the visibility of others. So, in other words, law enforcement agencies, companies worldwide, public institutions, governments, whoever, we have seen they need that visibility. And what most of them did is just to go and buy those intelligence reports services to complete the visibility. It's like, oh, I got the visibility from BlackBerry, so now I have more. I extended my understanding of the threat landscape, and now it's not only about, let's say, like articles about threat actors, but something you can use to hunt, to prevent, to respond, to test your capabilities. And this is what we try to do. We are doing in BlackBerry. It's producing things which are brand independent and MITRE focused. So you can, let's say, we have described, these are the TTPs, tactics, techniques, and procedures by this threat actor. But the question is, so what? How can I protect myself? All right, we have rules. We have Yara, Sigma, Suricata rules, but also we use the matrix called Defend from MITRE, which helps you to harden your systems. If this or that technique or procedure is like exploiting that specific thing, but in terms of configuration, how can I protect myself? What should I do? Is it something like I am missing? Like, should I change a policy, or should I adjust a setting? So we also provide that information to our customers of the CTI reporting service.
Well, we're running out of time here. I'm going to, both of you, a last a last thought, a takeaway, a call to action. Ismael, what would you like to say to the audience?
Well, after having spent this week at the BlackBerry Security Summit and being with a lot of not just BlackBerry, executives and also like, practitioners and customers as well, one of the things that struck me was the fact that it was communicated that over the last year we filed 14,000 patents. 1 year, 14,000 patents from
Incredible.
this company. So yes, we don't do phones anymore, right? I think everybody knows that at this point, but we're innovating like few other companies can say that, both in automotive, IoT, and cybersecurity space. So watch this space, right? This is just the beginning of a lot of other cool things that we're doing. We have a fantastic professional global team that are experts. This is one of the things I highlighted this week. Like we have done this for a long time, and this is not just Dmitry and myself. There's a huge team behind us that are very well known in the industry. We have science authors and instructors, people from law enforcement that have worked for agencies in government agencies in different countries. We have people in all over the world that not only understand the language, but as Dimitri always says, they understand the culture, right? And that's very important because the threats we see in Latin America, they're different from the ones we see here, from the ones we see in Japan, the ones we see in Europe. And that's why we're very well positioned to provide this information in a way that can help customers to make good decisions. So stay tuned, watch this space, and yeah, we'll be sharing more information as we go along.
Okay, Dmitry, anything to add?
It's our pleasure to make this service available for everyone. Again, you don't have to be like our product's customer. And definitely those cool things like the research we do, we're gonna be publishing also on our website, which is blogs.blackberry.com. And if you go there, you will find those pieces we write especially to promote and to position what we see, contributing to the community. We have also our community GitHub account where you can go and grab IOCs, YARA rules. So we also invite you to explore it because the idea is, of course, it's not only about business for sure, but also we are actively contributing to the community. So this is our goal, and we will be there for you.
I thank you so much. If you want to learn more, a great way to do that is to visit our blog and to subscribe to the blog, which is a new feature that we're just kicking off, and also to monitor Ismail's feeds in social media and Dimitri's feeds in social media. They will let you know as they make new discoveries and breakthroughs. And I want to really thank you two gentlemen and your extended teams for being those warriors on the front lines of protecting companies. And I think, if nothing else, the passion that you have for this mission really comes across. And we're so happy to have you as part of the team and to be able to serve alongside you. And I want to thank finally the audience for jumping on here with us and all of your enthusiasm in your comments. We'll respond to those where you've asked questions, and we invite you to join us again at our next LinkedIn Live. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful rest of your day, evening, weekend.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Steve.